Birmingham is the largest tech ecosystem outside of London, and today I'm going to be talking to one man who definitely knows all about it, the CEO of Birmingham Tech, Yiannis Maos. Thanks for joining us, Yiannis.
My pleasure.
Awesome. It's so great to be here today. I'm so excited for this conversation we're about to have because a lot is happening in the ecosystem, and I really want to dive into that. But before we get there, how did this all start? The whole thing about Birmingham Tech and the annual celebration that we all now know to be Birmingham Tech Week. How did it all begin?
That's a long story, so let me try and kind of keep it short and sweet. So Birmingham Tech Week started in 2019, and it started off the back of, I guess, kind of my frustration with what I had experienced to that point in Birmingham and the wider West Midlands. So I had been part of a tech scale-up, very successful one that eventually got acquired by a US firm. And a lot of that was spent in and around London. Very mature ecosystem, as we know, access to funding, access to business support, very well-connected ecosystem. And I just didn't find that when I arrived in Birmingham, and was somewhat surprised. You know, it's a great city, great region, but we hadn't cracked it when it came to technology. And I wanted to do that, and I felt the best way of being able to do that was to kind of celebrate, you know, what key ingredients we already had here and the solid foundation. And so I created Birmingham Tech Week. At the time, it was a startup essentially. It was a side project, a hustle, whatever you want to call it. I was actually kind of running a startup at the time. And we were meant to start very small, 200-300 people. This was in July 2019 when I kind of came up with the idea and launched it. By October 2019, we had 5,000 people attend.
Wow.
Overnight, it became the largest kind of tech festival in the UK. And we really wanted to kind of focus on three core values. One is kind of encouraging and fostering an environment of collaboration. The second was to inspire people from all walks of life to get into technology. And finally, you know, really making sure that people had a platform to celebrate their success.
That is truly remarkable because I think that those three things that you guys focus on are core and they are essential to the spirit that we have here in Birmingham. So it's truly remarkable, all the things that you guys have accomplished. And that's why I want to talk about the tech ecosystem in Birmingham. It's one that you're definitely a part of, that you and so many other people are leading. What's happening in Birmingham for those people that are watching this show right now and all they've heard about Birmingham in recent times is the successful Commonwealth Games? Let's tell them a little bit about the tech ecosystem right here in Birmingham.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Birmingham Tech Week was a huge success. And so I was like, what's next? And really, I expected an organisation to kind of step in and say, hey, we want to kind of better connect up the ecosystem and make sure that we can kind of fulfill our potential. You know, Birmingham and the West Midlands is a phenomenal region, full of innovation, full of amazing people, wonderful talent. The problem is, I don't think we've ever really shouted loud enough, and we haven't really kind of lived up to our full potential.
Which is characteristic of Birmingham.
And I think we're still on that journey, you know, 100%. But I wanted to kind of make a real difference. And so off the back of Birmingham Tech Week, I formed Birmingham Tech as that kind of ecosystem organisation. And really that was to take those pockets of collaboration that had emerged and really start to connect them up to facilitate kind of partnerships and relationships so people, organizations, tech companies within the ecosystem could start to really, you know, leverage what was available to them. And again, kind of focusing on three areas: investment and access to funding, making sure that business support was available to them but was high quality and relevant, and then finally access to the right talent to enable them to grow in a sustainable and fast way at the same time. And that's what we've done. That's what we've kind of, you know, been on doing. And really we're the glue, we're the conduit that brings it all together. I've got to say the ecosystem is made up of wonderful people like yourself, wonderful organizations that, you know, support businesses and people on the way. And that's resulted in last year the government, you know, recognising us as the fastest growing tech sector in the UK. Now obviously we've come from, you know, kind of the mid-table, and now we're probably kind of in the upper half. What we need to do now is kind of, you know, go for those Champions League spots really, and I know that we can do it. We're not far off. I think we're probably already kind of there now.
Absolutely. I mean, if any city can do it, it definitely is Birmingham, because this is the city of opportunity and we've got all the resources to make it work, particularly thinking about the ecosystem. We've got talent, we've got support, we've got all sort of stakeholders making it happen. So huge success so far is what the Birmingham startup ecosystem has been. And I'm sure that, like you said, we're definitely going to get to those Champions League spots.
We will.
Okay, now let's talk about Birmingham Tech Week 2022. It's just a couple of weeks away. What should we look forward to?
Another massive question. There is so much going on at Birmingham Tech Week, and actually it's changing day by day, which is amazing. With less than kind of 30 days to go. So we have leadership breakfasts, we have opening events, after parties. So we're taking over Albert Schloss on the Monday evening. So that's going to be kind of full of insight to start off with, and then lots of fun to kind of end with. Tuesday is one that I'm kind of pointing people at, because that's our Tech Growth Summit.
Interesting.
And that will focus on all those key ingredients of the ecosystem to help tech businesses grow more sustainably and faster, to go global. That's kind of our big theme across Birmingham Tech Week this year, is enabling the West Midlands, but also the organisations within it to go global.
Fantastic.
Wednesday, we have a massive Future of Tech showcase, which will demonstrate our kind of innovative spirit as a region, and so much is going to be showcased there, from mixed reality to IoT to machine learning and artificial intelligence.
I can't wait for that.
So that's going to be really exciting. And then we have focus on digital skills. Obviously, we have a digital skills gap at the moment, a bit of a talent war going on. So we want to enable organisations to understand how they can attract, retain, develop, and then turn that talent into leaders of tomorrow. And that's what we'll be focusing on Thursday at UK. So I was going to say UK House, but of course that was what it was at the Commonwealth Games. But actually it's the Exchange, part of University of Birmingham. And then we finish the week with an engineering conference on the Friday morning and afternoon. And then of course the Black Tie Dinner Awards at the ICC on the Friday evening.
I think that is a really packed schedule, but one that is packed with a lot of quality. Because from what I've heard from you, that gives something to everyone. It allows everyone to participate, and it just brings in all of the different stakeholders, which is why I'd like you to talk about, people that are not in Birmingham, that are not in the West Midlands. Why should they come? Why should they participate in this?
Yeah, I mean, before I do, I'm just going to kind of also give a shout out to kind of some of our key sponsors, but also actually talk about our fringe events, because that kind of somewhat answers your question. So what we're finding actually is a lot of private sector firms stepping in and helping kind of grow the ecosystem and support it from an investment point of view. So you've got the likes of Accenture, obviously investing more in the city, supporting Birmingham Tech, Goldman Sachs, Wise, who are a local company based in Solihull, Bruntwood SciTech, and SF Recruitment. So all of these organisations are helping us connect up with the public sector and really kind of building it from a private sector investment point of view. But then around Tech Week, so I mentioned only the main events, we've also got a fringe event schedule, so the Fringe Festival. And so that is made up of 25 events, all kind of empowering our community and our partners to really put on events that do all of the cross-section of technology across the West Midlands. So that's where you kind of get into kind of health tech and future mobility and all of those exciting areas too.
I think that's quite important, because what it does is it brings everybody in to actually participate and really make the Tech Week a success. And that is truly emblematic of the spirit that we know that we have right here in Birmingham, and particularly in the Birmingham startup ecosystem. It's quite remarkable. Now, lastly, before we go, Yiannis, I know that a report was launched earlier this year which talked about, Birmingham and the tech ecosystem and some of the remarkable things that we're doing. Do you want to speak a little bit about that, what is contained in it, and why people should take a look at that?
Absolutely. So we ran the West Midlands Tech Review and subsequently produced a report. And that was really kind of focusing on why we were the fastest growing tech sector in the UK. And really, again, it focuses on those three areas. We have collaborated, really remarkably over the last couple of years through a pandemic. It's brought us closer together, and those partnerships are really kind of starting to kind of see results. More investment coming into the region as a result of that too. More talent emerging. Within a 1 hour drive of the city of Birmingham, there are 300,000 graduates per year. It's the youngest city in Europe, the most diverse city in Europe. This makes our foundation as a region incredible. And now what we're seeing is lots and lots of innovative technology that was in that kind of R&D innovation phase, starting to be commercialized and starting to turn into scale-ups that hopefully will boost the economy, not just locally, but also nationally as well.
We're quite confident that that definitely will happen. And thank you very much, Yiannis, for all the work that you and all the other leaders in the ecosystem are doing to actually make RCT that remarkable startup ecosystem that it is. Thank you for coming on the show today, Yiannis.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. We have heard from one of the people that is making it happen in the startup ecosystem. But right now, we're going to move very quickly to talk about an organization that is an example of some of the things that Yiannis has talked about today. Pam Shima is out and about. Is going to be talking with Energym, which is a fantastic organization using technology to do remarkable things in the city. You want to stay tuned for that one. Don't go anywhere.